hundreds of years ago, when the land we call Northumbria lay at the very edge of a vast empire. Here stood the northernmost frontier of Rome, whose armored strength had conquered nations from the searing deserts of Egypt in the east to the cold north on our island of Britain. And behind a mighty wall, built when the great Emperor Hadrian reigned, our ancestors, the Brigantes, were made subjects of Roman rule. Here, at Housesteads, arose one of many places of strength, a fort of soldiers from across the sea, who stood as guardians of the Roman peace in the province of Britannia. To the north, beyond the wall, were the old tribes of Britain, whom the Romans called barbarians. Each fort was served by good solid roads that, like the wall, stretched from sea to sea. The wall and its soldiers divided the land of the Brigantes, but the strength of Rome could not destroy the spirit and way of life of all Britons. To serve the needs of the fighting men, a village grew. This was the Vicus. Life went by. From generation to generation, there was usually peace and trade, but not always. It was ever a place of soldiers, and the Romans could not ignore the growing power of the tribes beyond the wall. Nearly 300 years passed behind the high walls of Vircapicum, known today as Housesteads.
Glad to be back, soldier.
Of life in the fort itself, we know only a little, from the stories handed down over the centuries. Beyond the imposing towers of the 4 great gates, lay an ordered place of impressive stone buildings and straight paved streets, alive with soldiers. At the heart of the fort was a true Roman building, the headquarters, like some great temple in which all was commanded. Officers and soldiers assembled daily for their orders. All who entered passed beneath carved images of Mars and Victory, gods of war. Within the headquarters lay a courtyard, a great hall, a shrine to the emperor, and a place where the symbols and battle standards of the soldiers were kept, proudly displayed. Here all would come to offer their devotions to the emperor, a living god most would never see, and to hear the will of the officers who led them. The commanding officer was a great man of Rome, raised for war and government. He served his emperor in the farthest corners of the empire, enjoying life with his family and attended by loyal slaves in a stone house. Within this great house, the genius of Roman invention tamed the cruel winters. The house was heated and the floors warm to touch, as beneath the slabs, hot air from a furnace flowed both night and day. Here lived the soldiers, safe behind the great stone wall. They who enforced the will of Rome were 800 strong, foot soldiers, horsemen, from many parts of the empire. When called upon, they were ready to spill blood in battle with the tribes of the north. Not for them the comforts of their commander. They lived close together in barracks. Some had women and families in their house, and once their sons grew of age, they too would serve the empire. It seemed that these soldiers were blessed by their gods. Even when wounded in battle or laid low by fever, Roman physicians could restore them to health. Physicians practiced their healing skills in this place for the sick and injured. They were attended night and day with special foods, herbs, and potions.
Go across the
The tribes to the north were restless and untamed, despite Roman strength. True peace did not last, and the soldiers on the great north gate were ever watchful. For 300 years, Britain was a Roman province. But a day came when many soldiers were called to fight abroad. In the reign of the emperors Honorius and Constantine, most never came back. In the year 411, the Romans and their gods abandoned this island forever. The empire was gone. The soldiers who remained with their families had to defend themselves with no help from anywhere. And so it was that this place, once known as Verkovikia, returned to the soil in a wild way.